Hi, people. So I'm a little bit restless this evening. A bit depressed, if I'm being honest. I'll just say it. I'll use the D word, depressed. I don't want to exaggerate. I'm not miserable. I'm not. Certainly been in worse situations, but I'm a little bit down. I'm a little bit fed up, to be honest. I mean, it's the early hours. I'm not that tired. I'm gonna have a bath soon, but um, I thought a practical thing to do would be to speak about online dating, which is something that I've been doing for the last, guess it'll be 10 months now online, on eHarmony. I've made a couple of videos about this, but not many. I no doubt I'll make a few more after this. I just want to really lay out some of my experience, not everything, because I've spoken about a lot of it in the previous videos, but just my feelings about it right now. I should say I've actually got a meeting with someone tomorrow online, and I'm looking forward to that. But it's not the sort of excitement I had earlier on because I'm wary that people can let you down. So I'm cautiously looking forward to it. But and she seems like a nice person. But there's just no way to know until I speak to her more and um get to know her. I mean, the most obvious thing is, will she turn up? That might sound very cynical, but in my experience, people can let you down. When she initially responded, it was a good feeling. It always is. Um, what I'm going to do, I'm going to read out the introduction that I have on eHarmony, and I want to do this as a sort of way to lay out the way I approach it. It's not that private, so I'm not really giving anything away here about other than what I'm looking for. They give you, I think it's about 1,000 word, 1,000 characters they allow, or something like that. Introduce yourself. So that's what I've written. Ambitious and sincere. I'm at a stage in my life when I want to begin the journey of a serious relationship. Friendship is okay at first, or at first is okay. Online dating is not easy, and I've had my share of disappointment, but I appreciate responses. I'm not seeking perfection, and I'm not perfect, but I do want to find someone with shared values and, of course, mutual physical and personality attraction. I think communication is essential to this end. I hope I can find her. Thanks for looking. No, I hope that's balanced. I hope that is being honest about what I want. Um, Defensive enough that I'm being upfront. I don't want people to waste my time. So I hope that caveat of being disappointed, will be some sort of protection. But here's the thing with online dating. There are people who will not give anyone a chance. They'll not give someone a chance. It'll just be like it'll be one tiny little thing. They just rule a person out, and that's why it can be quite draining. I will respond to anyone. I took this kind of personal rule from the start. Anyone who contacts me, I'll respond to them, even if it's to politely decline them, because there might be something that just isn't going to be compatible. For example, if a woman has children, that's a no, right? But I'm still going to appreciate that she took the time to compliment me or look at my profile. I'll be honest with her, and I've been upfront about that. I don't want a partner with children because another man's kids. It's just there's too much baggage there. It's not something I can do, and I'm not judging people who get into that situation. But me personally, I know I don't want it, and there's no caveat to that. I just don't. It's just that's kind of a red line for me. Um, but most other areas I'd be open-minded about. Um, Attraction, aesthetic attraction is important, but so is personality attraction. I mean, um, there's profiles where people seem to have a nice personality, but they don't have the profile picture. Now, they say you should judge what's inside. Of course, that's true, but in the end of the day, as human beings, we do look at aesthetic attraction. There's no way around it. Some people like blondes, some like brunettes, some women like tall guys, some women like muscular guys or athletic guys or whatever it is, right? And I know I am I'm I'm pretty average looks wise, and I'm fine with that. That's what I am. I'm nothing special, but I look after myself. I'm confident. I'm ambitious. I know what my qualities are, and I can only be true to myself. Um, but I'll tell you this, I've just incidentally messaged someone. I found out that she lives in my city, and that always, inevitably, when you're using a dating site which has a market of the world, basically, and then you find it was a district in my city. I won't go into the details, but I thought, whoa, that's like 5 miles from here. I checked the woman's profile. She seemed attractive. Wasn't too much information there, but eHarmony does this thing where they give you a compatibility rating. So the higher the number, the more compatible they say you are. That would be things like shared interests and so on. And they give us 99, which is quite high. It's not the highest. It goes right up to like 120, 130, but 99 is fairly high. So of course I messaged her. Now I know that if I get no response from her, I'm ignored. It will bug me because I'm thinking, well, I'm not saying you have to be my girlfriend. I'm not saying, you have to spend loads of time talking to me. I feel, etiquette is something I hold quite highly. So I take the view if I'm taking the time to message someone, the least the other person could do is say something. Even if there's something that she's not interested in, it's just a question of politeness. So whether or not this person responds will remain to be seen. I mean, I've just sent the message, so probably sleeping. If Because the thing that can play on your mind on something like eHarmony is to have this little tool that says members who have visited your profile. And sometimes you see people have visited your profile, but they don't say anything. And that's fine, that's all right. I've done the same thing. But I think if you message someone and then they come to your profile and they just say nothing, I'm thinking, well, what is it? Have I said something that's put you off? Is there something in my profile that's put you off? And I'm thinking, just give someone a chance. Just even if you're not attracted to the guy, at least thank him for his time because that's politeness. So it's hard not to get cynical when you deal with that sort of situation of, I've had this. I've had people say goodbye to me with no reason. No, like, I don't think we're really compatible, but thanks for messaging me anyway. Good luck. Something like that. That would be a little bit disappointing, but at least I'd be okay with that. I don't like being ignored. I think it is, and I'm not talking about that in a narcissistic way, like, oh, everyone has to pay attention to me. It's more like if I've given the time to message someone else, then it's basic manners to reply because I would. That's my values. And maybe this is a problem with online dating that you sometimes can't, you sometimes, I was going to say you can't help, but sometimes you bring your own values into what you expect of other people. And that's not reality. Unfortunately, not everyone has the same values. So some people, a female friend of mine mentioned this because I brought this up, and she said, the reason some women don't reply is because they don't want to hurt you. Well, I've mixed views about that. I can understand if you don't want to reject someone because you don't want to hurt their feelings, okay, that's kind of understandable. But simply ignoring someone when they've messaged you, it's not necessarily that will hurt their feelings, but it will. It's just a bit rude. It's just a bit rude. My friend even conceded that, as she put it, we women should reply. Now, I don't want to get into the whole gender thing here because I can't look at the perspective of what women go through on dating sites. Maybe they have to put up with a lot of sleazy guys. I don't know. I can't see other guys. I'm straight, so I'm looking at women, right? I cannot see how other men market themselves or how they communicate or how they put themselves out. I think probably even now it's almost always men are expected to make the first move. So, in that sense, there's more pressure on men. I suppose, on the other hand, a really beautiful woman is going to get a lot of male attention. And I suppose there's pressure on her to know who is sincere versus who is just lustful and just wants to sleep with her, for example. Um, so, for everyone on a dating site, there is a degree of deciphering levels of trust. I think the basic rule should be just treat others like how you would want to be treated. It's true of life in general. And unfortunately, because of the nature of dating sites, because you're protected by a screen and you can just leave or just cut someone off, it's people sometimes behave in ways that they wouldn't necessarily. I mean, for example, if you're on a date, let's say you go for a coffee and you're not really interested in the other person, you'd probably, out of politeness, see it through at least to the end of the date. You're not going to say, "Well, I don't really like the sort of films that you like. We like different styles of food. I don't like your politics," and just get up and leave the table, unless it descends into a row. But if you just have different of views on things, then you might think, "Well, thanks for the evening, but to be honest, I'm not sure if we're really compatible, but I wish you all the best," right? That would be, to me, that would be a normal and civil way of doing things rather than just leaving halfway through the date. So to me, ignoring people on a dating site is a little bit like that. I'm not talking about there's lines of conduct. If a guy's being sleazy, then I don't blame a woman for ignoring him. But my own experience with this has been that, let's say you send, I'll try and use this ratio. Let's say you send 5 messages, maybe one of them will respond, maybe. So online dating, that's just my experience. Other people might have more luck, other people might have less luck, but it is genuinely, it requires a lot of patience. And I remember a friend of mine, a gay friend. So I don't know if it's the same dynamic on gay sites. I'd imagine it's not that different. But he said that that is one of the problems. You get a lot of dead ends and you get a lot of time wasters, and it's quite draining. Um, but in this COVID world, which has really affected social life, online dating is something I think a lot of people do. Probably online dating sites like eHarmony have benefited from the lockdowns and so on. For me, I know what I'm looking for. I'm tired of being single. I am, but at the same time, I'd rather be single than be with the wrong person to end up in some toxic relationship. I think that would be worse than being single. Um, and there's things I want to sort out in my life before I, for example, get married. You have to get to know someone. You have to begin that journey, but nobody wants to be hurt. So honestly, it's this constant balancing act. Because thing is, if you've had enough experience on dating sites, you naturally will know what to look out for. You'll know what sort of things you don't want to happen again. So it's very tempting to put that sort of disclaimer like, "I've been hurt" or "I've been disappointed. Don't waste my time." The problem is if it comes across as too cynical or negative or defensive, that in itself will put people off. So it's this real fine balancing act because you have to be positive enough to not put people off, but not so, you can't be flippant either. You have to protect yourself. I mean, I'll be honest, I've come across some women who they seem nice, they're attractive, they have some interests that I would share, but their profile is very, very defensive. Like, if you're only interested in sex, don't contact me, and that's it. That's the introduction. I figure, well, not every guy's like that, and with that sort of message, you're just going to put off the good guys because they won't appreciate being tarred with the same brush. So, unfortunately, that sort of defensiveness can also put people off. Um, so honestly, it's not easy. It really isn't easy. I'm speaking as a guy. I'm speaking. I think there is more pressure on men because, in the sense that we have to make the first move, but probably there's pressure on women in a different sense. That that's for them to say. I imagine if a woman was making a video about her experience of online dating, she might be saying different things to me, but ultimately, people are different. You can't judge all men as one. You can't judge all women as one either. So, for example, because I've dealt with a few rude people, I can't assume all women are like that. Um, but that is a little pet peeve I have. If I take the time to message someone and she just can't be bothered to respond, it's a little bit. I think it's a little bit disrespectful. I mean, I always say, look, there's no commitment, no pressure. And what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that it has to be us, you know. Maybe some people have this fear that if they reply to someone, they're making a commitment. Not necessarily. I mean, when I offer to have a conversation with someone, I'm not saying we have to end up together. I'm saying the only way that you get to know someone is by talking to them. It's the only way. You can't judge based on a few little clicked boxes like likes romantic films, exercises. These are very generic things. You have to go deeper than that to get to know someone. You really do. Um, anyway, I'll leave it there, but I don't know what I'm going to title this video. I might actually title it "The Challenges for Men in Online Dating." I mean, I have to say, there's several things I can't see how other men pitch themselves. So I don't know if I'm doing it in a different way. I think I'm quite balanced. I'm very open, and I always say to women I contact, look, feel free to ask me anything because I want you to be comfortable. Um, you know, uh, I'm an open book, but I'm not like hopefully not boring or. But I want them to be comfortable asking me questions. But I would just say it's a question of mutual respect. And I would say to those women who ignore guys because they think that they're sparing their feelings, let's say you like a guy and you message him and he just says nothing in return. Would you honestly be okay with that, or would you not feel a little bit like, well, what's wrong with me? Or rather, I've spent the time messaging him. Why is he? Um, my honest approach, if someone messaged me and I wasn't attracted to them and I felt that we didn't really have anything in common, or there was something that just wasn't a red flag for me, or red flag's the wrong word because that indicates that she's dangerous or something. So, omit that, not red flag, but a red line would be if she has children, because she might be a really nice person, she might be attractive, and that did happen recently, actually. A woman contacted me and she liked some of my pictures and she said, I think she said something like, I have a nice smile. So I responded and I said, thank you for your nice message. But honestly, I'm looking for someone who doesn't have children. But best wishes, and I appreciate your message. So to me, that's all I could do. I was being honest. I wasn't going to waste her time. I wasn't going to pretend that, oh, I'm maybe like her, but by the way, your kids are going to be an issue. That's not. I didn't want to waste her time, so I was upfront about it. But hopefully, I was civil and I was polite because she'd been nice to me. So it's just treating people how you want to be treated. But that's idealism, isn't it? And unfortunately, in the real world, it doesn't work that way. So with that in mind, just be aware if you get onto a dating site, it takes a lot of patience. And try not to take every snub personally. That's a little bit of a challenge. It's not so much that I'm offended by individuals doing that, but it just gets tiring because it does make you cynical. I mean, individuals who do that, I forget them because they're not important, but it adds up and it does get quite draining. That's the issue. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you've been. I'd particularly like to hear from people who've also used a dating site and your experience of it. Um, it's not all negative, of course. I mean, eHarmony boasts that someone finds love every, if it's 12 minutes like them. I don't know what the basis for that is. Like if they're getting testimonials from people saying they found their future wife or husband or what. I don't know how they could possibly, get that data. If it's feedback from customers or what, I don't know how they're doing that. But anyway, let me know your thoughts. My overall experience of eHarmony, 5 out of 10, probably 5 out of 10. I've had a lot of disappointment. The only reason I don't give it lower is because I think there are a lot of sincere people there, and I've made some friends from it. Women who I did connect with. We didn't end up together, but I'm still friends with them, and that's fine. And I like them. So there's good people there, and that's why I don't give it a lower sort of. I think some sites, when it's so clearly marketed to be sex, then you can't complain if you get that sort of vacuous, shallow approach that some people might take. So the thing about eHarmony is, on the surface, it is certainly one of the more professional sites, but even eHarmony, can disappoint. Believe me. Um, and when it comes to giving them feedback, I'll be very honest about this. I'll say, as a male member, I'm tired of dead ends. I'm tired of people not replying. But I don't want to exaggerate. I have had replies and I have had conversations. I think there are some people on dating sites who never get responses. And I really do sympathize with them. But the thing about it is, if you're a woman and you're never getting any responses, then maybe, and I say this in a sensitive way, hopefully, maybe you need to reach out a little bit. We're in the 21st century. Maybe it shouldn't always be the man. If you like a guy, message him. And if he is a decent person, he'll reply. Um, just try it. Also, I would say if you have no profile picture, of course, looks shouldn't be the only thing, but if you've got no profile picture, very, very few people are going to be even looking at that because they'll be thinking, what are you hiding? I mean, it shouldn't be about that, sure, but you might be describing yourself in a certain way, and they might think, well, why is she not showing a picture? Or why is he not showing a picture? Because they don't really look like what they say they look like. So it's a question of trust, actually. Or if you have a really, really overly simple introduction. One last thing I should say, some people simply take it more seriously than others. For me, I take it quite seriously. I've paid money for this and I've done that for a reason. I'm not messing around. I'm not playing a game. I want to find someone. Some people, maybe they don't have the premium service, and that's the reason why they don't. Spend a lot of time there. So it's not always a personal slight. It might just be, for example, I'm almost telling this to myself. You might message someone and she doesn't reply, and you might think, oh, well, there's something wrong with me. But maybe it's just because she hasn't paid the premium and she literally can't reply because eHarmony blocks your ability to reply. So sometimes it could also be that. And it's hard. It is very hard not taking things personally because of the nature of online dating. I think you have to try, and I'm telling myself that because otherwise, if you start getting depressed and you start thinking, what is it? Why are not women not looking at me? Why are men not looking at me? It will drive you crazy, but that will damage your overall approach to it anyway. So that's my pearls of wisdom, or at least my experience. Let me know your thoughts.